There are 3 things you need to know before you sign your next healthcare job offer. You miss them, and you will leave thousands of dollars on the table every single year you work. Stick around because the third one that I'm going to share with you tonight is one most people miss, and it comes straight from a recruiter who sits on the other side of the table. I want you to meet Danielle. Danielle is a 33-year-old nurse practitioner, and she's excellent at her job. But 3 years ago, when she got her first NP offer, she was so excited that she said yes on the phone right then and there without asking a single question or negotiating a single dollar. And here's what the one missed conversation actually cost her, because you're thinking, you know what, it's just a couple dollars, it's just 3%. Let's look at the actual numbers. Let's say that she left out $8,000 on the table that first year, which is modest for what recruiters tell us NPs typically leave behind. Now, because raises are usually a percentage of your base pay, that $8,000 gap doesn't just sit there. It grows every year, compounding right alongside your salary. Run that out for a 25-year career, and one unnegotiated offer in her early 20s turns up to be $290,000 she's never going to see. Not because she wasn't good at her job, but because she just didn't ask. Today, Danielle trains the new hires at her clinic, and some of them earn more than she does. She found that out by accident, and it stung. Now she picks up extra shifts to pay off debt, send her kids to a good school, and pay the storage fee for her egg freezing. She's tired, she's afraid, and that if she asks for more, she'll look ungrateful, or worse, she'll be labeled as difficult to work with. If you've ever accepted a job offer without asking one question, this episode is for you. By the end, you will know how to walk into any room with presence, how to negotiate without fear, and exactly which parts of your offer are negotiable, including the ones that nobody tells you about. First, we'll talk about professional presence and how the room reads before you say a word. Then we'll break down what negotiation really is, because most of us learn the wrong way or not at all. And finally, my guest opens up the recruiter playbook and shows you what you're allowed to ask for. That guest is Lisa Griffin. She's a national healthcare founder of LMG Image Consulting. She spent 5 years recruiting providers, nurse practitioners, and physician assistants across the country and in Tampa Bay. And before that, she recruited nurses. She also teaches healthcare professionals about professional presence, interviewing, and contract negotiation. Lisa, welcome to the Melanin Initiative.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, to look at the camera and tell the listener what is going to shift for them today if they actually take to heart what you're going to tell them.
What is going to shift is that the listener is going to know how to show up, how their presence will make a difference in the offer that they receive, how their presence will make a difference in how they are received professionally, and how their presence will make a difference in their own self-confidence.
Yes, and their paycheck. Everyone's watching this because we
definitely paycheck.
Because we're here to talk about
the paycheck.
And so tip number one thing you can use right now before we go any further is remember, never accept an offer on the spot. You thank them, ask them for the offer in writing, and ask for time to review it. That one pause changes everything. It gives you room to think, and it tells them you know your worth. Everyone, I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner. I'm one of the co-hosts here, along with Alicia and Geraldine, who send their love in their absence. We simplify medical information to language you can understand. We elevate the expertise of nurses and let you know all the ways that you can make more money without seeing more patients. If that's useful to you, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or LinkedIn. And remember, this show is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed here are our opinions alone. If you think you might be having a medical emergency, you should seek medical attention and medical guidance from your healthcare provider. If you think you might be having a physical emergency, you should call 911. If you or someone you know might be having a mental health emergency, you can call 988 or text 741-741. I am so excited about this episode, Lisa, because a lot of times, we do talk to the public, but my favorite episodes are when I get to talk to my peers in medicine and in nursing, because they give so much of their time in their life, and I love when we can give it back to them. And what you do, enough people don't know that you exist and your skill set. And like I said, we're here to talk about the money, and that's why they do all that hard work to begin with. And we don't realize that that's another muscle we need to build. And so what problem did you see in the market?
The problem that I've seen in the market, that I continue to see in the market, is that people are passed up for opportunities, for promotions, for jobs, for speaking opportunities, for advancement opportunities. And it's not because they don't have the education. They've got the education, they have the knowledge. Sometimes, or what I started to realize over and over again, it had to do with they did not know how to represent themselves, to present themselves, to be ready for the opportunity when that opportunity showed up. That's the key. That is the key. And I saw it repeatedly, excuse me.
And how does your business solve that problem?
So how we solve that problem at LMG Image Consulting, we work with individuals to help them align their personal image, their personal brand with their goals. We help them to align their brand with their goals so that they show up in situations, whether that be interviews, no matter what instance it is, that they show up ready, confident, credible, and presentable, no matter what the situation is. And having that credibility breeds confidence. People feel that confidence when you walk into that room.
And I know we're going to get more into branding later, because a lot of my peers who are watching that, they really don't even know what you're talking about, because they've been so busy taking care of patients.
Exactly.
You know, that's a real thing. So who pays you to solve that problem?
The individuals who pay me are those who feel that they are lacking confidence. They are afraid to look someone in the eye. They're afraid to shake a hand confidently. They're afraid to ask for more money. They're afraid to ask for exactly what it is that they want. This is something that I say to candidates, people in a recruiting situation all the time. Money is not a bad word. And I always say, this is what I follow that up with. Money makes the world go round. Okay. You're going to ask for what you want, or would you prefer just to take what you get? And you can apply that not just to money, but to any situation in life. And every time I say that, they go, oh, Miss Lisa, thank you. I didn't think about it that way. And that'll change your life. Keep that in mind. Ask for what you want or take what you get. I'd rather ask for what I want, because no never hurt nobody.
And I tell my friends all the time, and when I say friends, I'm talking about my peers, that they hear no all the time. We hear no every day. Parents, they hear no all the time from their kids. So they're used to hearing no. Mm-hmm. It's just about hearing it in this way. And I say, look, even if you hear 50 no's, 51 is going to be a yes.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Think about the little, what is it? My kids are so grown, they're grown women now. But children growing up, you tell them no over and over and over. They keep on doing it until they figure out why you said no. When they finally bump their head, they're like, oh.
They know they know they can wear you down.
Exactly.
Everyone has a point.
Has a point. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we don't want your resume. We want to hear your story, because you weren't always the Lisa that we're seeing right now, right? You coach people to walk into rooms with power and presence, but we know you didn't start there. So who shaped you, and what did you have to overcome to become the person you are right now?
Who and what shaped me is, so my background, I don't look like where I came from. You've heard that before. I came from I had a traumatic upbringing. I didn't have the ideal upbringing. I had saw things as a child that you never should experience. And that, seeing those things over and over, taught me to be quiet. If I stay quiet, if I stay silent, I won't get in trouble. If I stay quiet and I don't ask questions, people won't look at me funny if I ask the wrong question. So I learned to shrink. I learned to settle in. I learned not to speak up. Thus, I learned not to look people in the eye. I learned to go to the restroom, literally just to go to the restroom, wash my hands with my head down, and then walk out the bathroom, never looking at myself to see if I look okay, because I didn't want people looking at me or thinking that I care too much about myself. So I learned these things from a child. And they kept walking with me into room after room. They walked with me into elementary school, high school, college, my first job, my second job, relationships. And it really wasn't until my now husband of 34 years, I think, 30 will be 34 years in November. I took him home with me one year, and we were getting dressed to go to one of the 500 family events that I had to go to for the holiday. And I put on something, and then he goes, "Well, that looks good." And I said, I was getting ready to walk out the door, and I turned around. I said, "Wait a minute, I need to change because everybody's going to think I'm too dressy." And he said this to me: "Why do you care what other people think?
Mm.
Did you realize you're grown?" He said that. And I said, "Well, I don't want to make anybody feel bad." He goes, "Why making yourself feel good makes others feel bad?"
Mm-hmm.
And that just that started the thought process for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it advanced years later after I have children. My youngest daughter was in high school. And one day I asked her, how did something look on me? And this is so funny. She goes, "Mommy, why do you care? Why do you care what other people think?" From the mouths of babes. Mm-hmm. And that was decades later. Mm-hmm. And it was God revealing to me again, Lisa, I've put something in you. Lisa, I've put something in you. And he placed those people in my lives at the right time. Mm-hmm. Expressed that to me to start thinking, So be careful who you ask questions, and be careful who make statements to you that make you think. So those two statements started the wheel turning. And over time, I was in a career that I didn't do because I wanted to. I did it because my parents wanted me to. I was an accountant. Hated it. And I can't say it enough. I hated that job. But I did it because I loved what it was. She's an accountant. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was great. And so I did it just because. But I had migraines because I was stressed out, because I'm sitting at a desk all day talking to numbers. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't give me any sense of pride. And over the time, I started learning I need to get out and meet people. I need to get out and learn how to do something. There must be something more. And I got into things like Toastmasters, learned how to speak, learned how to shake hands, which I didn't really realize, learn how to make eye contact, there's a trick on making eye contact if you're nervous about looking at people's eyes. But you got to find that out another time from me. But I learned, I wasn't going to tell you. But yeah, I learned that. But it came through job change, career change, failure after failure. They say you fell forward to success, and learning from those failures, learning that I didn't speak up, learning that I was speaking too fast for someone to understand exactly what I'm saying, learning that I didn't display the confidence ready for that next position. I had the degrees, I had the experience, but I didn't display that confidence. Learning those things the hard way and putting the dots together to see that those people who were advancing, who didn't have what I had, they were showing up differently than I was showing up. And seeking out that help without having mentors. I still to this day consider my husband one of my best mentors, because he really did help me. But without other mentors, knowing how to seek those out back in the day, we didn't have social media. I look a lot younger than I look. I am a lot younger than I look, trust me. But we had no social media. We didn't have cell phones. We were lucky to have the cordless phone. Right. So anyway, I couldn't just Google how to do this and Google how to do that, or ask ChatGPT how to do this and how to do that. So I had to struggle my way to learn to network, learn through these different types of organizations, National Association of Black Accountants, Toastmasters International, just getting into those and walking into those and developing mentorships and learning that way got me into learning how to represent myself more. And then as I learned how to represent myself more, I saw that accounting wasn't the way for me. It was just a start. It was just something that I was good at. And here you go. I'm here today.
And we're so glad. I love that you mentioned silence in your story, because, the way I look at it, we're only born knowing how to do two things: breathe and cry. Everything else is acquired. So if it's acquired, that means it's learnable. And so that silence, we learned that somewhere. You told your story on where you got it from, but we can all count back to some event where we were silenced. And sometimes that silence isn't in every room that we show up in, but it's in some of the rooms that we show up in, right? So I love that you talked about that. And I love that you brought up accounting. Accountants, lawyers, engineers, medical professionals. These are highly sought after careers. And I think parents recommend these careers too. And when I ask my colleagues and students, hey, why are you getting into this industry? Everyone says the same thing, Lisa. I want to help people. But I strongly believe they're doing it, and parents recommend it because it represents stability, security, and money. But we don't talk about the money. It's okay to talk about the money, right? And that's why you're here today. So for you, accounting wasn't a passion, but someone else is going to come on here and talk about how in love they are with the numbers.
Exactly.
Just because someone else loves it, your mom, your neighbor, because that's what they'll tell me. Oh, well, my sister does it. My mom did it. So I just did it too.
Mm-hmm.
Just because someone else loves it. And just because it creates a secure, stable job, however you want to define that, it doesn't mean it's going to be the one for you. Even you just told us that. We know people every day that are leaving accounting, that are leaving healthcare, that at the same time people are coming in. I say, you two don't talk enough. You really need to talk to them, because whatever reason they're leaving, whatever they would do differently, you're in that position right now. What they've learned in 10 years, they can teach you in 10 minutes if you ask the right question.
Exactly.
You mentioned failure. Now, as medical professionals, we are literally paid not to fail. So I think this is probably where you spend a lot of your time, because you're like, failure is your greatest teacher. The most successful people have failed the most. And I know as an entrepreneur, it's the only way to figure out the idea you're really supposed to put in the world. It is hard, because you mentioned thinking about those other people. And I love your story about your daughters. Me and my brother used to tell my mom this all the time when she would ask us we would both say, the only thing that matters is, do you like it? Like, the only thing that matters, because she kind of taught us that too. She would say, we don't care what the other kids are doing, right? But she didn't seem to translate that,
Exactly.
the other way.
That's exactly it. And I feel like that was a gift, because my girls, both of them they're confident young women today, and they grew up more confident. I did not want them to have that inner lack of self-esteem that I possessed. I did not want my daughters. I didn't want to equip my children that way. I did not. So it's funny that you children teach us as grown folk what to do. It's our job.
But it didn't. It came from the parent. It started there, and we just put it in our own language and brought it back to you. Yeah,
that's what hurts.
You mentioned the degrees, right? You have yours, I have mine. We all have them. We all have a stack of certifications, but we don't have a stack of cash. Because even when you know how to get into these professions, if you don't know how to manage the money, it's not going to, you're still going to live paycheck to paycheck. And that's the conversation that's always missing, and I don't know if there's like a hope or a false sense that school or that profession is going to teach you, but they don't. And technically they don't have to, right? That's why entrepreneurs and businesses like yours exist, to fill in those gaps. And then I love that you mentioned coaches and mentorship, because they're also not part of the conversation. It's just the fancy school and the fancy firm, but they represent people who support you, not their own interests. And everybody has their own interests and their own agenda. There's nothing wrong with that. It's about knowing what it is. You just need to know what it is. And you mentioned that you Toastmasters a couple times. That's an example of you investing in your future. It's not how much does Toastmasters charge? How much does it cost a year? It's how much is Lisa willing to invest in herself? Money and time. And people who don't pay, they don't pay attention, right? So you have to put in some skin in the game. Right? Other than that, you would have been doing this. You wouldn't need to be here watching this video right now. Before we continue, we have to give credit to Dr. Patricia Delgado. She is our mutual friend, the reason we even know each other. She's a quadruple threat in dermatology. She's an alumni of the Melanin Initiative. She is a clinician, an educator, a researcher, a founder, and an author. And so we want to thank her for bringing us together and sharing expertise. And you also connected to her in her conference, Sunrise Dermatology Procedures Conference out there in Florida. Do you want to just tell the audience a little bit about what you do there before we move on?
I sure can. I actually just did this yesterday with a group of residents in St. Petersburg, Florida. I presented over at that conference um, the power of professional presence in paper, on paper, and in person. And we really honed in on your resume, how that gets you, it can get you the interview, but the interview is what can get you the job. But before the resume can get you the interview, the resume has got to get the attention. Pick that piece of paper, and you've got to have the right words on the piece of paper. And it can't just be, I taught that your resume, and we've been talking about branding a little bit, your resume is your marketing tool. That is the only thing you have to market you to the world when you are seeking employment. So you got to make sure that it is marketing to the right people and speaking and preaching your brand specifically. No one needs to wonder, well, what do they want to do? Well, what did they do? Why do I want to hire them? If someone's wondering that, looking at your resume, you've got serious work to do to change that.
Yeah, so because everyone applying has the same thing. They have a degree and they have patient experience. So how are you going to stand out? If I have 20 resumes to go through, help me make a decision. Help make my life easier. Stand out on that paper. And you're going to be the first one who gets a call.
Mm-hmm. And people don't want that. They really don't.
Yeah, they don't.
I'm amazed. I get amazed every day. Every day I'm shocked. I'm stunned, but they just don't.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of this standard training, right? Just do the resume, apply. So that's why we're here. So let's go back to our friend Danielle, because before she ever gets to negotiation, she has to walk into the room. Now, you coach healthcare professionals on professional presence. In plain language, what is professional presence, and why haven't most of us heard of it before?
Professional presence is that aura that you bring when you walk into any room. You either attract individuals to you, you attack individuals, or people just wonder who you are. And they can be wondering in a good way, or they can be wondering in a not good way, or a negative way, I want to say. So professional presence is that initial aura. It is that initial impression that someone gets from you before you ever speak a word. Before you ever speak a word. So that's why eye contact is important. That is why your posture is important. I was looking through, I take care of my 82-year-old mom. She has dementia. And so I'm filing some papers and stuff for her. And I'm looking through, I saw 2 pictures of myself, me and my mom, and us growing up. And she used to always tell me, Lisa, put your shoulders back. And I just saw 2 pictures of myself. And I was always like this. I mean, just my shoulders were literally, and you can see that difference in how I look there versus how I look sitting up and present. Completely different. And that's part of presence. The professional part comes in how you dress, the way you carry yourself. I can show up here without this jacket on, completely different presence that I present to you and your audience right now. But when I pop on the jacket, just the presence of the jacket instantly changes my image. It instantly changes perception. It instantly changes presence. Professional. And it's not saying that I'm stiff and got a chip on my shoulder, but you never get a second chance. And you've heard this, never get a second chance. Never get a second chance to make a good first impression. You never know who you're impressing or not impressing.
Yeah, and we do want to offer some encouragement because some people may have had a bad first impression. It's still not over for you.
No, it's not over.
You just need to have a strategic approach.
Exactly. Education is never out for the pro. Period. Education never out for the pro.
Yeah, and just face it just face it. Hey, look, I know we didn't start off on the right foot. Exactly. I think that helps a lot.
That's the key.
I wanted to speak to our audience. So if you're a caregiver watching this, your presence is in the exam room too. Write your top 3 questions before each visit. Sit up, speak up, and bring someone with you if you need backup. You deserve to be heard the first time. If you're a nurse or a clinician, your brand follows you into every room, including the ones you're not in. That's your LinkedIn account for one. If any social account, I always recommend that you're on LinkedIn. And then practice talking your wins out loud with numbers. It's actually harder than it sounds. My therapist made me kind of talk in the mirror to myself. Man, it's actually really tough. If you're a healthcare entrepreneur, your brand is your business. Your image, your message, they do not match. Clients are going to feel it, and it's going to cost you trust before you ever get a chance to do your pitch. Now, our first teammate takeaway is your presence is a skill. It's not your degrees or your years of patient experience. It's something that you have to build on purpose. Align your image, your words, and your digital footprint with the value that you bring. And it's not necessarily just what you do for patients. Now, earlier I told you there are 3 things you need to know before you sign your next healthcare offer. We covered the first one, your presence speaks before you do. Here's the second one. It's my favorite one. Negotiation is not a fight. Lisa, most of us were taught that negotiation means conflict and that you're being controversial. How do you describe it?
I describe negotiation as discussion. Mm-hmm. It is a discussion, period, end of story. And a discussion can't be one-way conversation. And conversation is not a one-way. It is talking between people. Dr. Kimberly and I are talking. We're having a discussion. We're having a conversation. Negotiation is a mere conversation. It is not a dirty word. People get afraid of it. Oh my God, I'm afraid to ask. Ask questions. Come up with a list of questions. That helps you get the conversation going. Questions that you truly want answers to.
Yeah, on 2 fronts. So sometimes a lot of my peers will say, I'm going to go back and get this other degree, and I hope I'll get paid more. I say, I believe in hope. I believe in faith too, but I also believe in taking action. You can ask that employer right now before you apply to that school, spend money on the application, spend money on the exam, spend money on the tuition, spend money on the clinical hours. Ask them right now, hey, when I get this degree, will you pay me more? Right there, they're going to tell you. If the answer is no, then maybe you don't want to stay there, or you have a different plan, but at least you're going to know right up front. A few seconds ago, you mentioned when you walk into a room, you either attract or you attack. How can someone know which one they are?
You can tell when you are attracting, when people literally are coming to you at maybe asking you questions. What do you do? What brought you here? When you walk into a room and people seem to not be coming towards you, they're moving away from you. There is an aura, there's something about you that is attacking them, that makes you seem maybe you may have, and I hate to say it like this, but I don't know a better way to say it. You may have that angry look on your face. Some people have an angry countenance on their face and they don't know it. There's a not nice way to say that. They say it's a resting type of face. Uh-huh. There's some people who truly do have that and they don't realize that they have that until someone brings it up to them. And sometimes that's a challenge. I've worked with individuals in that way. Sometimes it's just a difference of having a smile, just a smile on your face. Because when you smile, the words that come out of your mouth sound a lot better than when you have no smile on your face. I mean, your voice literally goes down. They don't understand you. When people don't understand you, you are attacking them because they're just turning away because they don't know what you're saying. They don't want to keep asking you, what'd you say? What'd you say? Can you repeat yourself? Then they just go away. You're attacking.
Mm-hmm. So what about our people who are listening who have social anxiety? The thought of people coming up to them is fearful.
I can understand that. I can totally understand that because, and when I tell you this, you'll never believe me, but I truly am an introverted extrovert. I truly am. I really am an introverted extrovert. People coming up to you, if that scares you, you need to ask yourself and do some self-evaluation on exactly what it is that you want in life, where it is that you want to be in life. Because depending on what that answer tells you, most likely you are going to need to attract people to you. Doesn't mean they're going to come up in your personal space. There's a personal space to you, like the 6 inches. Anybody coming closer than that, that's invading your personal space. But you do want You literally have to take a personal inventory of what it is that you want in life. If you are happy where you are, maybe you can stay away from people invading your space or people coming up to you. But if you are that individual who wants more, you have some soul searching to do.
If you smoke and you want to quit, first we want you to know that quitting nicotine is one of the hardest things a person can do. Not because you lack willpower, because nicotine physically rewires the brain. This is not a character issue, this is a chemistry issue, and you do not have to do it alone. Here are your options. Nicotine replacement therapy, patches, gum, lozenges, and inhalers reduces withdrawal symptoms by giving your body a lower, controlled dose of nicotine while you break the habit. They are available over the counter. Chantix is a prescription medication that reduces cravings and makes smoking less satisfying. It is one of the most effective cessation medications available. Bupropion is another prescription option that reduces cravings and is especially helpful for people who also experience depression. Counseling and behavioral support, whether in person, by phone, or through an app, significantly improve quit success rates when combined with medication. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW for free telephone counseling. Visit smokefree.gov for free apps and text support. And talk to your care team about which option is right for you. Quitting is possible, support is available, and you deserve both. This message is brought to you by the Melanin Initiative Podcast, where we simplify health information so you can advocate for yourself and for the people you love. Find us on Apple and Spotify.
Maybe they can start small, right?
Exactly.
Maybe it's a one-on-one introduction, then maybe it's just a small group and kind of build.
And exactly. And like I said, you heard me mention Toastmasters. Little things, just little networking can be even more fearful because you're like, oh my God, all these people want to start handing out business cards. I don't want to do that. So just I liken it to this. Instead of walking into a worship service and sitting in the back row, try to just sit in the middle row. Try to sit midway instead of all the way up on the front row. That's a baby step.
I like that one.
Because you'll pass people coming out and you'll pass people going in. And usually you are forced to say hello. Just hello helps you get you a step further.
And just like we talked about, people acquire silence and being silent. You can also acquire not smiling. Like a lot of times when I see men take pictures, like they don't smile at all, right? So that's like a learned habit. And when I was younger, I had a gap in between my teeth. I didn't get braces till I was 25. So I went through all grade school with that gap. And I have to be honest, I think I was the only, it's not like people were blind, they did see it, but I got so many compliments on my smile because I was smiling all the time. Because you mentioned smiling, and I can only think people who might have issues with their teeth or maybe even acne, again, they don't want people in that space. And I'm thinking you're more worried about what I'm telling my stories because you're probably more worried about it than the other people.
That is 100% correct. And we all are more self-conscious, more critical on ourselves and the things that we pick out that other people, and it's taken me forever to learn that, but the things that we self-sabotage ourselves that way. People really don't care that much. We think they do, but they really don't. There's things that we see that they're not picking up on.
Exactly. And even before I got braces, I did a public speaking class. That's the whole class. And literally all the comments, because they have to give you feedback, would say, great smile. So we're our own worst critic every single time. And everyone listening is only thinking about themselves.
Period.
That's what it is.
That's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. And we know this works in both directions, which is one of your competitive advantage is that you can speak to both the employee and the employer, because whatever hat we're wearing, we're all going to be sitting at that negotiation table. If you're the employer, if you're the entrepreneur building a team, negotiation is how you attract the best talent, protect your profit, and show your people you're invested in them. A team member who negotiates really well and gets a fair deal, they're going to stay longer and work harder. Turnover costs more than it does to give someone a raise. In fact, every year there's a report that comes out called the Advanced Practice Provider Report. And it shows that employers spend more money attracting new talent than they do keeping people they already got. Now, I think there's opportunity there, right? Because you already have them, and the amount of time and money that goes into orienting new staff is tremendous. But I think it goes on the outside. That was a surprise when I saw that. So let's pause. So far, you have two of the three things that we want you to know. One is presence is a skill that you build on purpose. Two is negotiation is just a conversation. It's not an argument. And I heard someone say, actually, I heard Emma Greed say it. She's one of my virtual mentors. She said, in a good negotiation, everyone loses a little and everyone wins a little. And I think that's pretty fair. If you're still with us, we're about to get to the third one. It is the one most people miss. Danielle never heard of it. So imagine how different her story would be if she had heard it. Okay? And by the way, Angie's putting up some screenshots for us, so you don't even have to worry about taking your own notes. You can take these screenshots, and this is going to help you take action as soon as you finish watching this interview. Now, the third thing that I promised you at the very start is the one that everyone misses, that everything is negotiable. Do you agree, Lisa?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about that one.
So I say, if you are not willing to negotiate, then you're willing to accept no, period.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. It is as simple as that. So why just accept no?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
so
literally.
Let's say someone has an offer in their inbox right now. Let's walk them through what they should do.
Read the offer, top to bottom, side to side. Read it. Make sure you understand it. If you don't understand it, get a friend to read it and help you understand it. Someone who may be more experienced and skilled at it, so you really understand what that offer has. The offer is about more than just money. You want to read that. So sometimes I work with a lot of clinicians. You're a clinician. I'm not going to come in and do microneedling on your face tomorrow. I don't know that, but I know contract negotiation. So if you're the dermatologist and you're negotiating, and you know me, I'm a friend of yours, then we're going to get together and Lisa's going to review that contract for you so that you can kind of better understand, or that offer for you, better understand what's being offered and make sure you understand it. Always ask friends for help. Always, always, always. And they don't necessarily, you don't have to hire an attorney for that. You may have a friend who is skilled at reading and skilled at contracts and skilled at things like that, but they may not be an attorney. They may be an accountant. A lot of times they're good at looking at the details. If you have a friend who's really detailed oriented, ask that person. A person who sets up all the events and sets up all the vacations and things like that, that's a good person to ask. So make sure you read the contract thoroughly and make sure you understand it. Do not just find the money and go, that looks good, and sign it. Absolutely not. No. Read first.
And when we mentioned earlier about asking for some time to review it, what's a good rule of thumb?
Meaning how much time?
Mm-hmm. When should you answer the first day? And then what's too much time?
Never answer the first day, period. Never do. When you receive it, ask, is there a deadline for me to return this to you? Mm-hmm. Is there a deadline for my decision? Mm-hmm. That's the best thing, because then you'll get a firm answer. Well, no, take your time. Or you'll know they'll say, well, we need to make a decision within 3 days. Okay. And if you say, okay, I think I can handle that. But if I find that it may take longer, will there be a problem? If they tell you I need your answer in 24 hours, say, if I find that I need more, if I need more time, will there be a problem with me extending that? Mm-hmm. Just all they can say is, yes, there'll be a problem. Then there'll be a problem. Yeah. And you wonder, why will there be a problem?
A lot of times we talk about doing your research and looking at the market rate for your role in your region. What advice do you have there?
I have to do that, to do your homework on pay scales in your community or wherever that is that you are looking for that opportunity. So if you live in Tampa Bay, Florida, and you're applying for a position in Seattle, Washington, you have some serious research to do, because the cost of living, pay scales, everything has to do with what your pay is going to be. So you've got to do the research. Oh my goodness gracious. It's homework. It's homework doing a job. It's work doing a job. Work getting a raise, because you need to be informed.
Okay, and so what about the employer, right? I'm hiring a team. Do I go to the same sources?
Yes, you do. Make sure you know your research, because you as an employer would not like to be hiring someone. Well, maybe you would. You don't want someone who you're interviewing to know more about pay scales, market, what you don't want them to know more than you do as the employer, because an interview is a two-way road. The interviewee is being interviewed, the employer is being interviewed. Both of you are interviewing each other. So as an employer, you want to be shed in the best light possible as well. So you want to do your homework and know what's out there, what the market is bringing in your area right there as well.
Once I heard someone say, I think they were talking about negotiation, that if you compare yourself to the average rate, then you're saying that you're also average.
Exactly. And a lot of employers will say that they are the average. Well, do you want to go to an average company?
Yeah.
And as an employer, do you want to be perceived as the average employer? Sometimes employers, depending on what type of an organization that is, for profit, not for profit, their hands are tied on that salary. But when it becomes that situation, that's when I challenge the employer to find other reasons and other benefits of joining that organization that money can't buy.
Oh, absolutely.
My goodness, wholeheartedly, because sometimes the money can be great, but everything else is not so great. The work-life balance is not so great. The teamwork is not really teamwork. There's so many other things to be evaluating when looking at those offers.
Yeah, I really learned this when I was in P school. I took an entrepreneurship course, and you had to do what I asked you at the beginning: pick a problem that you can solve. And at that time, I used to be on the Nurse Practitioner Association, DC, the board there. And we had a professor come from Catholic University, and she spent a whole hour, she had a whole presentation on the preceptor problem. So I decided to pick that one because all my classmates were complaining about it. And here she just presented me a bunch of data. Because even if a school makes it the student's responsibility, well, guess what? When your students have trouble, guess who they're calling? The school, right? So it ends up being both people's problem. And so I went to the literature review, and you would think the main problem is compensation, that all those MPs or whoever the preceptor is wants to just be paid. And that's why students can't find anyone. But it was if they listed 7 things that would incentivize them, it was number 7 was the money part. At the top was access, because once you're no longer affiliated with a school, you're really on your own. And those schools, they have events all the time. And so they wanted to have invites to those opportunities. I tell some of the nurses I work with when they take on leadership roles, I say, ask to be invited to those corporate retreats, right? Ask for specific introductions with the who, right? And then they want affiliation, right? I want to say that, hey, I'm affiliated with this school, right? Without being a professor, without teaching, because I'm going to teach some of your students over here, right? So it was so eye-opening, and it really showed me all the things that really are of value, because what it is that just like that school, that job that has a limited budget, the school is going to tell you they have a limited budget. But what they have in their possession is called low cost, high value. They already have it. They already have the access to the library catalog that I want, so I can get full access to all articles. They already do the corporate retreats. They're already doing these monthly events. They can already give you a title as adjunct professor. It doesn't cost them anything. But the value to me is tremendous. It's tremendous. And you can do that with any employer.
Any employer. Yes. Great point. Yes.
And so one thing we love to do here, because me, Geraldine, and Alicia are 3 straight Black women, we always like to bring attention to the people who aren't sitting at our table, like we ask other people to do for us as Black women, right? And so I just want to check in on, because we're talking about negotiation, we're talking about presence. And there are some populations we consider our vulnerable populations where they're really hit a lot harder. So we have our veterans. Your military experience, it translates. So put numbers on it and negotiate with it. Our older adults, you guys are, because right now the whole conversation is longevity stocks, longevity investments, and there's a new lifespan expectancy of 120 years. Okay, so old. 120, yes. So, the term old is really being kind of pushed back. They've done studies even in Japan about how they want to reframe that. And people are living longer and they want to age actively, right? And so, especially if you're going another all the way to 120, or older adults, they're starting businesses. They're still getting married. They're traveling, right? And so you're changing roles or you're returning to work sometimes, either because you have to, because you didn't put away enough money, or just because you want to. You want to be cognitively stimulated, continue to put out into the world and stay busy. Your experience is leverage. It's not baggage. Our LGBTQIA plus family and everyone who has been underpaid before, your last salary does not set your worth. And in many states, they can't even ask you for it. And if English isn't your first language, bring your ask in writing. The words count, not your accent. So our number 3 takeaway is that the offer is the package. It's not a number. Almost every part of the negotiation everything is negotiable. And the person across the table is expecting you to ask. If they like negotiation as much as I do, we want to play, right? So there's an opportunity on the screen for you to do another screenshot so that you can put everything that we're telling you to work. Okay, so as we come to a close, let us know the person who needed this conversation today. What's the first action they need to take?
The first action you need to take is to go stand in front of a mirror. Ask yourself, who do I want to be known as? Who do I want to be? Who do I want people to know me as? What do I want people to know, to think and feel when they come into my presence? How do I want them to feel?
Mm-hmm.
And the last question to that is, am I offering that? Is that what I'm giving off? Is that what my presence is offering to them? And am I gaining what I need from that presence as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a colleague, especially in dermatology, a lot of people are trying to get their foot in the door. So sometimes they're taking a pay cut and, as quiet as it's kept, there's a lot of toxic work environments in every industry, in every specialty. And so sometimes people the negotiation doesn't land in their favor. But what it teaches them, and a colleague proved this, because she waited so long to get a certain job in a small town. So there's not a lot of opportunities. And because she continued to work hard and invest in her professional growth, she started to see her own value. And even they were giving her more responsibility, but they weren't giving her more pay. And she said, you know what? I recognize now this actually isn't the place I'm going to stay. And I'm going to put a date on it. That's what I want you to do. Put a date on it and start working your way back so that when that date comes around, you're ready to leave and you don't have to look back. Now, one thing I think we take for granted is we assume that our employer cares about our accomplishments. They're busy trying to keep the business open. Just like we learned in nursing, everything has to be documented. So like our friend Danielle, who we talked about, you know what she started doing? Documenting everything. Everything she did, from swift communication, creating educational content, orienting new hires, spearheading new initiatives. She documented it and she put it in numbers. And even your employer often will give you a performance report and evaluation. And there's a lot more you can ask for that sometimes they don't want to give you, but at least you'll have the numbers. And it's actually your responsibility to have those numbers. Now, I remember I told you at the start, the 3 things before you sign your next healthcare offer. 1, that's your presence speaks before you do. 2, negotiation is a conversation. It's not an argument. And 3, everything is negotiable. And I tell parents all the time, you negotiate all the time. You get your kids to eat things they don't want to eat, do work they don't want to do, and even your spouse, you get them to go to those doctor's appointments they are trying to avoid. So it's a muscle that you're using every day. You're just going to flex it in a different way. So how can people connect with you?
They can connect with me on social at LMG Image Consulting. And that is with LinkedIn, that's with Instagram, and that's with Facebook as well. And they can, and my website as well is lmgimageconsulting.com. And my email is Lisa at LMG Image Consulting.
And I love that you're here, Lisa. We've been talking about Danielle all of this time, but now we're going to talk about you. You have an illustrious career. You have a long marriage. Congratulations, by the way. And healthy adult children who are out here in the community doing good things. And one day you decided you weren't going to spend your time building someone else's dream anymore. You decided you were going to build your own dream. And we just talked about people are living to 120 now. So somebody might be looking at you and see their self in your image. What are 3 things that you had to believe about yourself to realize that it's not too late?
Well, I'm so excited about the living to 120. Oh my God. You just, that's life-changing for me right there. So thank you. Literally the first time. But tell me the question again. I just threw myself off. Say that again.
Yeah, 3 things you had to start believing so that instead of believing that it was too late.
No does not mean not now. No, no is not forever. It doesn't hurt me. It's not going to kill me. That was the biggest thing. No it's okay to hear no because it's next. Okay. The second thing is, if I don't believe in me, how can I expect absolutely anyone else to believe in me? I had to say that. And the third was, every day I look in the mirror and I say that I deserve all that life has to offer me, period. Am I going to work for it? That's what I say to myself every single day. Every single day. Because it's a choice. Every day is a choice. It's a present. That's why it's called the present. Yeah. So we only have those 24 gold nuggets to work with daily. And it's completely in between these 2 ears what we're going to allow to stop us or propel us to that next step. And
what do you think stops women of a certain age from starting over?
The ideal, I think now it's becoming, it's getting a little bit better, but being in the recruiting arena, ageism is real. Yeah. It's awful, but it is so real. I still have people tell me, I need somebody who's fresh out of fellowship, no longer than 5 years out of fellowship. That's discrimination. You know what I'm saying? And people, we've learned that when it's 65, it's not old anymore. It really isn't old anymore. But at a certain age, people think, well, isn't it time for me to retire? I can't do anymore. I have a mom who is in assisted living. She has her own little apartment in there. What helps me daily, when I go see her, I don't see her every day, but when I go see her several days a week, and you talk to these people. There's one lady in there. She's 100 years old. She's been there for 13 years. Do you hear me? And she still has it together. And I say, what do you do every day? She goes, well, I try to read something new every day. Talking to them makes me want to say, oh my God, I'm just starting. I'm just starting out. So just know that it's not over. Look, when you look at some of the people who are running our government, right there tells you anything is possible. If you want it and you're willing to work hard enough for it, you too can get it as well.
Okay. And then 3 areas of challenge. What's your biggest challenge physically doing this, right? You've been working in the field decades now. Physically, what do you do to be able to, because it takes work, right? It takes a lot of mental energy. And you have to be honest, it takes physical energy. Some of the jobs and careers we're coming from put a lot of wear and tear in our body. What's one thing you do to physically be able to show up?
To physically be able to show up, I literally do work out every week. And the best time for me to work out is when I get up in the morning. So I literally wake up about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. When I get up to go to the restroom, I don't get back in the bed. I literally put on my workout clothes, brush my teeth, and stumble out the house and go to the gym. And that while I'm working out, I do weights because I have to, because I'm older, but that invigorates me. And it invigorates me because I had to choose to say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get up and get going right now, or I could choose to put things off. But it energizes my day to work out first thing in the morning. The only day that I really do not work out is on Friday because I have a 6:45 a.m. meeting, and there's no way I'm going to be dressed in time. But other than that, working out really fuels me, and eating right. Eating, that's huge too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, you mentioned the thing about ageism. Are they saying why they want someone that young? Is it just so they don't have to pay them as much?
It's not, no, usually it's not that they don't want to pay them that much. They want to be able to mold them like they want to be. Like they
Okay.
want them to be. They don't want someone coming in with their own opinion of how they do things.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they're harder to train because they're already used to running things this way, and you've got to try to retrain them, and it's harder to do that. And then another reason, and it's pretty much because I live in Florida, a lot of people come here to retire. And so they figure, oh, they've only got 5 more years to retire. They're just looking to retire. But there are some people who are not doing that. I mean, I talk to them every day. I have one gentleman, he's leaving a thriving practice to move to Florida to be closer to his mother who is aging. Really, she can't be alone anymore, so he needs to be here. But they don't want to hear, they don't care, they don't believe that, they don't need that. They said he's too successful, he won't do that here. That's why I say it. I see it. I literally see it every day. It is the saddest thing to me.
And then your biggest challenge as an entrepreneur at this phase?
My biggest challenge as an entrepreneur is to give grace to those who have a full-time, regular, steady paying job. Because a lot of times as an entrepreneur, people think as an entrepreneur, you've got it made. You make your own schedule. You can work when you want to work. You can show up at this and you can show up at that, and you can make pretty much, you call the shots. Yeah, we call the shots, but we work 10 times harder, because when you have a full-time job and the money comes, all you really have to do is show up and get in that door and just do the bare minimum to get by, and you're going to get that paycheck. As an entrepreneur, you can look like the I can't think of it, the duck that's floating across the water, but underneath you can't see them paddling. As entrepreneurs, that's what we're doing. We literally, look at you. Yes, that's what we do. That's what we do. That is literally,
and we love it.
And we love it. Exactly. We love it. And the challenge is another challenge is that I don't have to work all the time, but I enjoy what I do. Mm-hmm. So it seems like I'm always working all the time, but I enjoy, like, I love being around colleagues like you, because you stretch me, because you're always learning, so, I mean, that 120 years old, dear, but you're always growing. And that's why I always say education is never out for the pro. Never out.
The last challenge is personal, because I find that when we make a decision to either enter this industry or go into business, our family comes with us. You said you're married, and you said you work a lot, which means it takes up more of your time. So what is the biggest challenge becoming an entrepreneur has introduced to your marriage?
It's introduced that I literally have to set time aside to go out with my husband. We are going out here. We are going to go here. You are taking me over here. We are going to happy hour. Because I have a husband. I'm blessed. He is not, I don't have he's not needy. I don't have to cook. I don't have to do any of that stuff. But I'm blessed, but I have to force myself to do that. Like, we're going on a trip. We're going on a Mediterranean cruise next. We're leaving to go to Spain next week to fly out of Barcelona. And if you knew how many times I said, we need to cancel this because I got too much I need to do. If you knew how many times I said that, and I'm looking so forward to doing that, because I have to totally unplug. I'm not going to call one single person. I'm just not. I'm trying not to take my computer. I'm really trying not to. I haven't said no yet to that, though. It's just that part. I love what I do. I just ooze it. I literally do ooze it. I live and breathe it, and I'm blessed because I've worked where I did not love what I did. That's a curse. That's just not fun. Just work to pay.
I love that you mentioned the calendar. I live by the calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done. And while it's not romanticized, when you do step into business, you do have to schedule. You kind of have to schedule everything. You really do. And then, the one thing I do is that I borrowed from another entrepreneur, one of my coaches, is that every 6 weeks I have a sabbatical. So that's no business, no laptop, and it's just me and my family, or the little hobbies, whatever. There's a thing called hobbies. I know entrepreneurs, every hobby turns into a new business, but they do exist. But whatever it is, it's just, and I have it every 6 weeks.
How long is your sabbatical though?
3 days.
It's for 3 days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a goal.
I know it's tough. Wow. At first
every
it was
6
tough.
weeks. Every 6 weeks.
Yeah. You can do it however you want, but it keeps it consistent, and it really has changed my life and my relationship. Yeah. Because the work doesn't stop. It doesn't. And I really think, and when you listen to people who've been successful for a long time, they do talk about sacrificing sleep, and you'll sleep when you die. But I think for entrepreneurship now, it's got to change. If we're going to be more sustainable, we don't want to build all this and then not have our health. What's going to be the point? So there has to be a different way to do this. Some of it is letting go of that sense of urgency that's always on your back. Like it doesn't go away. So you have to learn where to put it. If I want to really do this for a long time, and I do, there has to be a different way. And so that's one way that I am building in sustainability. And I go on sabbatical every August. That's my birthday. And it is tough. But I say, you know what? I have to lead by example. If I lead by example, other people will do the same, and they'll see it's okay.
You're right. You're right. The one thing that I have done better at is I have set hours for myself. Like I literally do not work. I used to, but I do not work at 6 o'clock, usually around 6:30. I literally turn off all the computers. I don't call. If I call, it's just for a friend that I'm calling. I don't do any work, and that's something that I have adopted, and I had to adopt to tell myself, Lisa, it's okay. It'll be there tomorrow. I literally have to tell myself, Lisa, it'll be there tomorrow. Yeah. It will be there tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this was so delightful, and everything that you've been able to share with us today is really important. Actually, I just had a call a couple of days ago, and this conversation is exactly what we were talking about. It's really just giving people permission. I tell people, someone might hire me because they want to open a business or they want to get a job. So they're asking for a specific thing, but our conversation will be 5% of that. 95% of the conversation is what's going on in your head, in your mind.
Literally. And there's lots of shit going on in there.
That's it's the biggest thing that we have to overcome. And it's our biggest competitive advantage. Amen. So it has been wonderful. We look forward to seeing you out there more. And she's available for conferences, everyone.
Yes. I just have to thank you, Dr. Kim, because every time I talk to you, I get more little, I want to call them Kimisms.
Okay.
I do. Like today, you did say people who don't pay attention.
Yeah, I wish I came up with that one, but I
love that. Yeah. But I don't care if you didn't come up with it. It is good. I love that. That is so pow. Oh my goodness.
And it's true. It is. Yeah.
Jesus, that's good. Oh my goodness, that's so good. So good. Your experience. Okay, go ahead. I'm not going to keep telling. That's what I was jotting down some of your stuff because you are just a wealth of knowledge, young lady, or wealth.
And together we go so much further. And so this is not the last time we'll be together.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we want to thank you all for watching. Remember, you can email us your questions and show ideas at tmi.melanin@gmail.com. If you haven't already, you can still subscribe, leave us a thumbs up, and share this video with at least one person who's looking to negotiate literally anything. It could even be a contract on a house. Literally, we told you everything is negotiable. My love bug just bought a watch and he said, hey, you got a discount? And they gave him 13% off just because he asked. Because he asked. This is an expensive watch, my friends. He just had the
guts,
balls to ask for it. And so proximity of presence, right? I've talked to Lisa now for an hour. That proximity, her confidence, her skill set, that rubs off on me. And we hope that it rubs off on you. At the time of this recording, we release new videos every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern on YouTube and LinkedIn. And we thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.